So, you want to know how to play Elder's Vault? Very well, but you should know, Elder's Vault is not a game you win. It's one you survive. Now, let us begin. Elder's Vault is a two-player trading card game. To enter a match, each player must have an archive of at least 40 cards. A player's starting life in Elder's Vault is 20, and the objective is simple: reduce your opponents to 0. This is your field of play. The field is divided into 5 lanes and 14 zones. Each lane has one form zone, and one nexus zone neatly set within them, giving you 5 of each. Whereas your relic zones aren't as neatly placed, with lane 1 and 5 having a single relic zone within them, whilst lane 2, 3, and 4 have 2, giving you a total of 4 relic zones. Outside your field of play, you also have an archive zone. This is where your archive rests. A graveyard zone. This is where a card goes if it leaves the field. And a void zone. This is where any banished cards are placed. Your opponent has this same layout. Your zones are yours, and yours alone, but the lanes, they're shared. And it's how you utilize these lanes that will determine if you survive an Elder's Vault match or not. To begin, each player shuffles their archive and draws their starting hand of 5 cards. You've won the coin flip, so you'll be going first. As such, you generate 10 energy, skip your draw phase, and move straight into your main phase. Here, you can play actions or summon cards face up onto the field. There are primarily 4 types of cards in Elder's Vault: forms, nexuses, relics, and actions. If you wish to play or summon a card, you must spend the necessary energy to do so. The amount of energy needed is displayed in the yellow sigil on the flag of the card. Now we'll go over the cards. This is what you'll summon into your form zones. The form. If you wish to survive, you'll do well to get familiar with these. Each form has a speed, an attack, and a health. The speed can be found in the blue stopwatch. Its attacks displayed within the silver arrowhead, and its health is shown in the red heart. This is a nexus. These are blue. They are primarily used to augment your forms. It would be wise to include a number of these in your archive. Their abilities, just as with your forms, can be found within their effect box. This is a relic. Relics primarily augment the players themselves. They're green, and as with every card in Elder's Vault, their effects are in their effect box. Their title is above their art box in the top right corner, and their card cost is right here, the top sigil on their flag. Let's summon a form. First, we spend the energy and declare we are summoning the form into our desired lane. In this example, lane 1. Now we'll summon a nexus into the same lane, and then a relic. We'll then move into our combat phase. Here we may declare attacks, play actions, and use activated abilities. However, when you summon a form, you must wait until your following turn before you can use its activated abilities or attack with it. So since we summoned our form this turn, we'll skip our combat phase and move into our second main phase. In this phase, we can play actions and summon cards. Here, we'll perform a ritual summon. This is an arcane ritual card. Arcane rituals will have a black second sigil on their flag, as well as a number within it indicating their ritual level. To ritual summon our arcane, we must first spend the necessary energy, then tribute a number of cards from our field equal to its level. Let's do this now. Our arcane's energy cost is 0. Its ritual level is 1. So we must tribute 1 card. We'll tribute our relic by removing it from our field and placing it face up into our graveyard. Then ritual summon our arcane into lane 3. Now, we'll move into our end phase. In this phase, we discard down to 5 cards if necessary. Any damage inflicted to forms on the field is removed, and will then pass the turn to our opponent. Our opponent enters their surge phase and generates 10 energy. Then they move into their draw phase where they draw 1 card before beginning their main phase. Our opponent declares they're summoning a form into lane 3. They spend the energy and place the form into the lane. When a card is played or summoned in Elder's Vault, the other player has a brief opportunity to respond if they so desire. In this instance, we'll play an action card in response. Actions are orange and are played as opposed to summoned onto the field. There are 2 types of actions you should be made aware of. Actions such as this one may be played at any time during the match, whereas actions with the subtype Experiment may only be played on their controller's turn. To play our action, we would simply declare we are doing so, spend the energy, and then play the action. Our opponent has a chance to respond. They do not. So our action plays and its effect sends our opponent's form to their graveyard. Actions are one-time plays that do not summon onto the field. As such, our action is then placed into our graveyard. After which, our opponent declares they're summoning another form into lane 3. Their energy reduces, and they set the form into the lane. We don't respond, so their form summons, and they target us with its triggered ability. Triggered abilities are usually the first ability on a card, and automatically take effect when a certain event occurs or a set of conditions are met. In this case, their form being summoned triggered the ability. Our opponent has targeted us with their form's Darklight ability, forcing us to banish a card from our graveyard. We have our action and relic cards in our graveyard. We'll choose our relic and set it into our void zone. Our opponent then skips to their end phase where they pass the turn to us. We enter our surge phase. Our energy resets and we then generate 10 energy. We move into our draw phase and draw 1 card before beginning our main phase. Here, we'll use our Ritual Form's activated ability. An activated ability is any ability with an associated cost and triggered effect and may be used at any time during the match, given they're not on forms suffering from summoning sickness. To use the ability, we'd simply state the title of our card plus activated ability, and then pay the ability's cost to trigger the effect. Let's do this now. First, we tell our opponent we are going to use our 5-legged Saurian's ability, then pay the cost, which in this case is 5 energy. The ability triggers, which allows us to place a +1/+1 counter on any moonfolk we are able to target on the field. Our 5-legged Saurian is a moonfolk, as we can see by its subtype. We target it giving it a +1/+1 counter, which adds 1 to its attack and 1 to its health. We'll then repeat this process, giving it another +1/+1 counter before moving into our combat phase. Here, we'll declare we're attacking our opponent with our form in lane 1, Grey Invader, and our 5-legged Saurian in lane 3. We can see our opponent doesn't have a form in lane 1, and as such, our opponent cannot defend themselves from our Grey Invader's attack. And due to the Nexus's effect we summoned in the lane during turn 1. Our Grey Invader's attacks increase by 1 until end of turn. Nexuses primarily deal with forms in some way, with those having the modification subtype directly affecting their controller's form within the lane they occupy. As such, only our Grey Invader is affected by our Nexus. Also to note, if our Grey Invader were to leave the field for any reason, our Nexus would remain, and the reverse is true as well. Our opponent does have a form in lane 3, so if they desired they may block our 5-legged Saurian with it. With having declared our attacking forms, our opponent may now declare blockers to defend themselves with if they choose. Our opponent declares they're blocking our 5-legged Saurian. When 2 forms are in combat, the first attribute to check are their speeds. The form with the higher speed strikes first, and only if the slower form survives the strike will it then strike back. To note, if the speeds are the same, the forms would strike each other simultaneously. In this scenario, our form's speed is higher, so it would strike first, and due to its +1/+1 counters, it would inflict 2 points of damage to our opponent's form's health, killing it. Now, with the blockers declared, we move into the damage stage. Here, the form with the fastest speed on the field strikes first. Our 5-legged Saurian has the highest speed, so we'll begin by assigning its combat damage. We deal our form's attack to the blocking form's health, reducing it to 0. Our opponent's form has received lethal damage, so it cannot strike back. Any form that receives lethal damage at any point during the match is termed killed. There are many keywords in Elder's Vault, with destroy, kill, sacrifice, and tribute being the main ones you should become familiar with. If a card cannot be destroyed, it can still be killed, and if a card cannot be killed, it can still be destroyed. The keywords in Elder's Vault are vital, and if you wish to survive a match, you do well to keep them in mind when building your archive. With our opponent's form killed, only our Grey Invader remains, and so we assign its combat damage to our opponent's life, inflicting 2 points of damage. If our opponent's form had not been killed, they would have assigned its combat damage to our 5-legged Saurian. But due to their form's divulgeability, they could have then dealt the excess 1 to our Grey Invader, killing it. But even so, due to their speeds being identical, we'd still have inflicted the damage to our opponent's life. With the damage stage completed, we're now in the end stage of our combat phase, where all forms that have been killed are removed from the field of play and placed into their controller's graveyard, after which our combat phase concludes, and we move into our second main phase. We'll skip this phase and move into our end phase, where we'll pass the turn to our opponent. Our opponent enters their surge phase, where their energy resets to 0 before they generate their turn's 10 energy. They then draw 1 card, before moving into their first main phase. Turns continue like this until one player's life reaches 0, or they're unable to draw. Now, you know what's necessary to enter an Elder's Vault match, but to survive, remember, every card's a choice. Every choice a cost. Some you'll pay in energy, and others in pieces of yourself.